And now, another exciting episode of As the River Churns.
I think
we are on.
Oh,
okay.
we're on. We got
All
the thumbs up.
There we go. Well, happy Thursday afternoon, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the weather of the last couple of days. Thank you, Lisa, for turning over the
You're
hourglass.
welcome.
Because I would have forgotten. Oh, I'm glad you tapped it,
I
too.
had to tap it.
Yeah, that's for Neil. We figured that out from Tuesday.
We
That's for
did.
Neil,
We did.
so.
Yep.
But the weather's just been gorgeous.
Oh, I love it. I love it when it's cooler like this.
Kind of feel the fall in it. You know, and I was
Yes.
looking at the weather forecast for the next, several days, and mid-60s is the high, and
Nice.
we're going to drop down into the 40s for the lows overnight. I mean, it's just good weather for fire pits, good weather for
Camping.
Yeah. I mean, anything like that.
Yep.
Which is also nice, that you, especially for those that like to walk, or you don't have to walk in the early morning to avoid the heat of the
That's
afternoon,
true.
right? You can actually go out in the afternoon and walk if you want
Right,
to.
right.
So
Very true.
just please don't walk on the golf course, right?
No. Stay off the golf course.
Please stay off the golf course. Right?
Unless you're playing golf, of
Yeah.
course.
Yes.
But no walking on the
No
golf
walking,
course.
no
or
riding
bikes.
Please,
Right.
please don't do that.
Right. Very true. That's the safety tip of the day.
Yeah, it is the safety tip
So,
of the day.
and it's October 1st.
Hard to believe. Can you imagine?
October 1st.
It doesn't feel like it. Doesn't it feel like it should be like May 1st or
It
June 1st
does.
or something? I don't know.
But I don't want to go back either.
No.
So-
Because, no, 2020
May
is going
was
to be one of
not
those
fun
years.
either.
2020 is going to be one of those years that we're going to just
We're going to
say,
skip
you
it.
know what?
Right.
Ready to move on to 2021.
Exactly.
I think there'd be a lot of extra celebrating this coming New Year's at this
Yep.
point because of that.
I think back in May, we were still under stay-at-home order.
Yeah.
It was still right at that time
Yeah.
that we were, it's crazy.
We didn't have our restaurants open. We
No,
were picking
nothing.
up meals from the clubhouse and picking up
Exactly.
meals down here. And
Yep,
yeah.
crazy.
River Landing looked a lot different.
Wow.
So, okay. So, cute photo of the day, huh?
Yes, that was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was it, Tom?
Now, see, I call that Baby Yoda from
Baby
The
Yoda.
Mandalorian, but I've been
Yoda.
understand that that's not called Baby Yoda. It's called
It's called
The Child.
The Child.
The Child. So, anyway, all right, that was cute.
Okay.
So we have a trivia question today.
We do, and it's from our very own Brian Stroud.
What?
Woohoo! Yes.
Not from John Hoyt today?
It is not. Nope. Today,
Okay.
Brian had a really good one that was very appropriate for this week.
All right. Well,
Okay.
good. All right.
So we're going to call Michelle. Okay, Michelle's already run out of the room. I have not given the number or the trivia question.
Maybe somebody thought the question was, who is Brian Stroud? There you go.
Okay, that was not the question. So here's Michelle's number before we get started here. 336-389-4103. That way you have the number. And the prize today is going to be a $10 Target gift card.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
Good.
always a great prize.
Good.
And here's the question.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Where was the first...
Not where. When.
Oh, sorry. When was the first presidential debate televised?
When.
When was the first presidential debate televised? And this is a tricky one because if you're looking it up, you'll find some little differences out there. So when was the first presidential debate televised?
So Brian, is this a trick question?
It's kind of tricky.
So when you say tricky, I assume it means that it's not really like something you would automatically know then,
Some
right?
people on the internet, it says some people will guess this, but it's really this. So it is kind of tricky.
All right. Well, we'll see what
Yep.
happens, right? We'll see what
Yep.
happens with that. Okay. So we did see Michelle go out of the room, so
We did.
somebody's
We
trying to
did.
call at least. But we'll
Yes.
see if they have the
Yes.
right answer to this. Okay. So let's go over the coronavirus statistics for today. It's been 2 days since our last update. And so in those last 2 days, the state has recorded almost 44,000 completed tests. That's 22,000 per day. We have had 3,772 new positive cases in the last 2 days. That is 8.6%. That is a little high. So I'm not sure what's driving the rate to go up, but
Sure.
the percentage has been higher the last couple of days. So, which, will lead us at some point into talking about the conference,
Right,
the
The
governor
governor's-
being on TV yesterday. We'll talk about that in a
Yep.
few minutes. But unfortunately, in the last 2 days, we've had another 85 deaths in our state. But the hospitalization rate came down a little bit. It came down 11. We're at 939. And that was one thing I will remark about the governor's conference yesterday. The hospitalization rate has just been pretty flat and steady. I mean, it's flat as you can go.
Yeah.
So looking at the individual counties, not a surprise, kind of what you would expect it to be as far as, I mean, the numbers are higher, but they're all in line to however many they have had typically based upon the total number. So not much to report on that side. When you get into congregate living, where the nursing homes and retirement communities, of the 212, well, I should point this out. We have almost 213,000 positive cases since March 1st in the state. And of that, 16,179 have been in nursing homes and retirement communities. That's 7.6%. Again, that's pretty close to what we've been running. We've had 1,816 deaths out of nursing homes or residential care facilities. Again, that's running about 50.7%. That's kind of what we've been having all along. We've been right around that 50% mark. And we've seen another jump in the number of outbreaks in nursing homes and residential care facilities. We're at 332 today. That's 11 more than what we were even on Tuesday. So seeing a pretty huge jump there. So that's pretty much the statistics for this. Lisa, I think we wanted to spend a few minutes talking about, a bunch of different things related to the coronavirus, right? I mean, I think the first thing, and I've kind of already alluded to it, our governor came on yesterday and talked about phase 3. And I'm going to tell you all, I was excited about phase 3. I didn't know what phase 3 meant exactly,
right.
but I was
we
excited.
thought it meant progress,
It meant progress, and that's a good thing. We need to be, that's good.
Right.
I think the one part of it that kind of bothered me a little bit was when Dr. Manny Cohen was talking about that we've spiked, and we're still seeing the spike here at this point at the moment. But, when we looked at phase 3, it really had a lot to do with the movie theaters, and it had to
outdoor
do
arenas
like the Panther stadiums,
amphitheaters, things like that.
And that to me was the big change of phase 3.
Right.
I like the idea that he made it a mandatory mask requirement. I think that was really good. I think that's been long overdue. I don't know why we didn't have that from the get-go, but I'm happy and was glad to see that go into effect. Bars on the outside, not on inside, but on the outside, you can open up to 30%, I think it was.
Right.
When we started drilling down into all the stuff, Lisa, we were kind of like, there really isn't anything that changes for us.
Right.
We looked at the bar thing a little bit, but, we're already kind of allowing residents to sit out on the veranda up at the clubhouse.
Right.
And as long as they're having some sort of appetizer or meal type thing,
exactly.
they could have some alcohol
Right.
And sit out on the veranda. So I just didn't see anything in there that we could really take from that and say, oh, yeah, this is going to affect River Landing, and this is going to allow us to do this now or this now. There really wasn't anything in there yet. So I don't know if he can call it phase 3 if he wants to, but I'm guessing there's going to be a phase 3.25, a phase 3.5, a phase 3.75 coming because, there was not a whole lot of meat in this one. So,
and this order is supposed to last till the 23rd.
Yeah, he only gave it a couple, 3 weeks, right? A couple, 3 weeks for this to get. So I think I'm not the governor. I wasn't part of what their decision making was. But I will tell you, I was a little surprised they even went to phase 3. I would have thought the spike might have pushed this off another week or two, and he might have just pushed it off. But I think they were kind of gung-ho for wanting to get into phase 3, so I bet they
Right,
just scaled
right.
it back at this point with the hope that maybe they can look at it again in
Sure.
another couple of weeks and be able to go and do a little bit more under phase
Yeah,
3.
they might have originally had more in it.
That's
then
what
they
I'm
pulled
thinking.
some of
I
it
think that's
out
what
is-
happened. I think they pulled a lot out.
Because they did make a point to say the gatherings inside still
Yeah.
stayed at 25.
Yes.
And the gatherings outside was still at 50. So I wonder if they were going to change that.
That's a great point.
But they didn't.
I think
So-
you're right. I think they might have gone higher with those
I
numbers.
think so, too.
If we hadn't spiked here
Right,
recently.
right.
So,
Yep.
so it did. So phase 3 didn't change much from the governor's perspective. So, like we said, phase 3 is not going to change much here. As a matter of fact,
Right.
it's not going to change anything. We're not
Right.
changing anything. You know, there are some things that, irregardless of phase 3, that we started been looking at. You know, one of the things I think we've talked about it maybe once or twice before, and that is, you know, we're, as you all know now, we're allowing you all to have family members come in. It's still a limit of 2.
Yep.
You have to call them into the gatehouse and let the gatehouse know that you're having family members come in. You know, we talked about, is the next phase of this to say, okay, it doesn't have to be a family member.
Right, right.
It could be guests instead of a family member, still limiting it to 2. And folks, we're going to stay at 2. I don't want anybody to have to think falsely that we might actually go beyond that. Because we have to screen and we have to temp check everybody that comes in this community other than the residents at this point, that takes a lot of time to screen and temp check. So we're going to probably stay with the 2-person limit
For a while.
for a while.
Right.
It's not going
Right.
to change for a
Right.
while.
Sure.
So just want to make sure that we're very clear about that and transparent about that. But one of the things I think that we can change, and we're talked about maybe doing this either next week or the week after.
Right.
Not yet.
Right, right.
But at some point here soon, we're going to go ahead and allow the guests to come
Right.
in.
So it's-
And then I know I've talked about this before. Right on the heels of that, we need to allow our marketing and sales team to be able to continue doing their jobs. And so the next step for them, quite honestly, is for them to be able to start having prospects come in and be able to tour the community. And so we're going to tie that in probably with guests coming in to be able to have marketing prospects come in. And obviously marketing prospects, when they come in, they're not going to be using any of the amenities,
Right,
or they're not going to
right.
be eating here, or, you know, we're
And
going
it's
to
not groups. You're
it's
not
not
talking
groups.
the-
We're
the
limiting that
groups
to
that-
2 as well, and so
Right.
that'll be really a controlled environment
Right.
as well. But we do need to keep our financial side of our operation functional here, and so we will be starting that back up again, probably doing it almost in conjunction with residents being allowed to have visitors come in. So we got more for that. We can talk about that. It won't be next week, Lisa, but probably the week
Probably the next
after
week.
that.
Right,
We'll
right.
talk about that and put that into effect, probably, unless something changes that we're not aware of.
Yep.
So, okay, I think that's enough on the governor's thing. Obviously, he was still stressing the 3 Ws, which,
Right, right.
you know, we all know that
Yep.
makes sense.
And the flu shots, of course.
And the flu
So,
shots, right.
yep.
So we did our normal weekly testing this week.
Yes.
76 more tests that we did this week of our staff in the nursing area. And I'm really pleased to tell you, we were all negative again this week.
That's 3 straight weeks, right?
3 straight weeks. So there's some question now, what you all may not know, and I'm sure that's, I think, and I haven't had a chance to read it, but I heard the News and Record had something in regards to this in the paper today, but the state has just changed their focus on visitations in the nursing homes. So it was, up until this point, the CMS, basically the federal government, had their kind of regulations as to what the visitation policy should be for the nursing homes. And for the most part, what I'll get to that. So the federal government through CMS had their regulations. The state of North Carolina had different interpretations and different restrictions and regulations for the visitation policy. And it was much more restrictive than what the federal CMS guidelines were. So we were really pleased to see that the state, just in the last couple of days, has now said, and they're now aligning themselves more with the federal side through CMS. So that's changed things, and I think for the good. So our team over in the healthcare center side is now kind of working through the new regulations. It's not just a matter of saying, okay,
Right.
you
Open
can
your
start having
doors.
family coming
Right,
in and
right.
visiting residents. It's not that easy, folks, and I wish it was. There's still a lot of regulation, a lot of hoops and obstacles to jump over to be able to get the visitation policy in effect. But we're working on it. And so I really think that in the next couple of weeks, I know, I've talked to Kat today, we're going to have, in the next 2 weeks, we're going to have a visitation policy which in the nursing home side will allow for not just the window visits, which what we're doing now, but will allow for outdoor visitations and in some cases will be able to allow for inside visitation as well. So more to come on that. I just think it's really good news. There's still a question out there, and I will tell you, this is where we struggle a little bit with who do we follow? The federal government, the state government, which agency? The Guilford County Health Department has their own set of interpretations on this stuff. So, you all, I think we've told you all this before, but once we had that outbreak in St. Andrews with, the 5, 6, 7 cases over there, we went on the list for the state. And it says on that list you can't come off of there until you've had 28 days of no new positives. So, we get through next week and we should be in good shape. We should come off that list. But the federal government's, so the state government has said, well, you have to wait 28 days before you can even consider doing an outdoor visitation. You can do window visits, but not outdoor visitations. And forget inside visitations. Now, the federal government's saying, well, it's 14 days. You have to go 14 days without a new positive case, and if you go 14 days, then you can start doing these visitations. So you can see the dilemma that this puts us in as far as interpretation of all this. And quite honestly, this week has been, it's been basically a water hose worth of information, coming in, a fire hose of information coming in. We're trying to drink all this and decipher it. And so we've been working with our sister communities. We're all trying to kind of do the same thing. And so, again, I think we're getting close on it. The whole point of going through all this little detailed discussion was to let you know that, it's coming closer. And I'm really excited for our nursing home residents, our folks that are in the healthcare center.
Absolutely.
I think we're getting closer and closer to being able to have them now be able to have more outdoor visitation and, hopefully even some inside visitation. So we're working through it. Okay, I think enough said about that. I hope I didn't confuse everybody.
Let's see. Some good news about Glen Eyre.
Yeah, so I think we mentioned, I know we did, at a previous show that we, the executive director, Paul Gregg from Glen Eyre had resigned, and that was back in June, and he's been gone since June. And so Hank Lovern, who is our VP of operations, has been kind of running the community down there temporarily until they found a new executive director. Well, we just got notice today that Mr. Ben Stevens has been announced as the new executive director for Glen Eyre. He has been at Covenant Living Communities in both Illinois and Florida for the past 5 years. It's a national faith-based, not-for-profit senior services provider working in CCRCs. He's been running a CCRC up in the Chicago area. Windsor Park, I think is the name of it. Anyway, him and his wife and his 3 kids are going to be moving down to North Carolina, and he'll be taking over that role. So, and I had a chance, I got the opportunity to meet Ben when he was here interviewing, and so he's a good guy. I think he's going to.
That's great.
I think he's going to be a great fit for Glen Eyre, and I'm very excited for our sister community. So,
Very good.
yeah.
Just a reminder, the river games have started.
River games.
I think today actually was Wii Bowling, so that was
Cool.
good. And I know we've had golf already.
Golf, yeah.
Earlier, so.
The Byerly Cup.
Byerly Cup, part of
Yeah.
the river games this year.
Yeah.
But Whitney did want me to give a shout out that tune in to channel 1390 at 8:30 each evening, beginning Monday, October 5th, for a recap video of the day's events.
Ooh.
So all next week, tune in at 8:30, and there'll be a recap of what happened that day. And also they will be uploaded on Care Merge under the Wellness tab.
Super.
So, yeah, that's
That's great.
great.
Okay.
Yep. And some events, there are limited spectators. You do have to sign up for those down in the Wellness Center.
Right.
But it's nice to see there's a few spectators allowed, so a lot of great things happening next week. Should be a fun week.
Yeah, that should be a fun week. And you know what? I guess this is a good time as any to say it. I'm going to miss it.
Yes, yes.
So I'm going to be away next week. As a matter of fact, I think we've only got scheduled, and I know you're going to get to this eventually, but we only have one
Just Wednesday next
as the
week.
River Churns session next week, and you've got a
Right.
special guest coming for that.
I do, yeah.
So I'll let you talk about that when you feel like it's the right time to talk about that, but you're going to do a great job. And I know she's going to be very funny next week because
I'll
you
be
know
in your
what?
chair.
You'll be in my chair. And
It's the chair.
It always is the chair. I'm
It
not
is.
funny. I'm really not. And I
it
think
is
most
the
people
chair.
agree with that. So it's the chair.
It's the chair.
It's the chair.
We've
So
determined that.
We have determined that.
Yep.
So, but I'll be thinking about you all in the River Games and all next week. And so I got a chance to kind of do a little R&R next week.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward
Yep.
to it, to be honest.
That'll be good. One more thing, the reverse raffle.
Yes.
I almost forgot.
I know. It's so exciting.
We're just going to kind of give a little teaser today.
Yes, we are.
Right?
How much teaser are we going to give them?
Well, just a little bit.
Okay.
I think a little bit.
So let's give them the date first.
Okay, that's perfect. November 13th.
It's a Friday night, right?
So mark your calendars. It's a Friday the 13th. Brian cringes when I say that.
Yeah.
But November 13th, it's a Friday. We're going to have our reverse raffle. So this is
Reverse
the,
raffle.
boy, is this our fourth one now? We had
Yes,
two
it
last
is.
year.
It's fourth, yeah.
And
It's our
one
fourth
so far is like what we had in May.
Yep.
But we were just broadcasting that one
We were virtual,
because,
right.
Yep, the reversal part, because we couldn't have any participation at that
No,
point
right,
in
no.
a room. So this one might look a little different.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's going to be very exciting.
I think it is too.
Yeah, yeah. So how much are we going to share today about?
I think we share a little more.
Okay, so
What do you think?
I think so too. I
Okay,
think it's going to
okay,
be kind of
okay.
fun. So
Well, since we can have some people in a room now
Right.
to gather,
25,
we can have up to 25.
Up to 25, right?
We're going to push that a little bit and have maybe a gathering of 25 people.
Okay.
And there might be special tickets and special tables that you could buy to get a chance to be right here in the multipurpose room live.
Right. Or maybe even like at another location on campus,
Another group?
another group, or
Another
maybe
25
two.
in another location?
It may be so.
Look at that.
Yeah.
We might have 3 areas
We might have
that we
three
could have
whole
25
areas.
people together.
Yes.
Oh, I like it.
Tables of 4, right?
Like it,
Tables
yes.
of 4 so that, you can invite your best buddies to be able to come and be a
Absolutely.
part of your table.
So how will we figure out what tables get picked?
Oh, see, now that's the part I think we shouldn't tell them. So I think that
Oh,
we're going to have fun with that. And
Okay.
We'll talk about that at our next show.
I like
right?
it.
When
That was enough of a teaser.
When I come back, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
How about that?
Sounds
But-
good.
Yeah, but it's going to be fun, I
It
think.
is. It is.
And we're going to have another cousin of Ken's, relative of Ken's. So I don't know if that's
I don't
an
know if he's-
enhancer that people want to be able to be a part of that,
I
or
was going
whether
to say,
that's
maybe
a
we
detriment.
shouldn't say that.
Well, I don't know. I think everybody loves Ken's relatives, and so I think it'll be good. And, Ken has mentioned that his relatives have talked about the fact that the virtual one that we did back in May, it was tough to do the virtual
Right,
one
right.
without having at
Absolutely.
least some people
You
to be
need
able
some
to.
kind of interaction
Yeah.
to
So
help with his jokes, especially with his cousin's jokes.
yeah, and maybe
He
if he
needs some
got
help.
more of a response from people that were here
It
in the
would've
audience,
helped him.
it might have
It would have helped him.
Some of the stuff he did.
Yes,
So-
absolutely.
So we're excited about that, and he's
For
very
sure.
excited about
He
that
is
for his
too.
for his
For his
relatives.
cousin.
Yeah, for
Yep.
his cousin.
Not sure which one's
We
coming.
don't know who's coming this time.
Oh,
He may not even tell us until the day of.
He might
Who
not.
knows, You know.
you might not. That's
So,
true.
Anyway, so Friday, the 13th of November.
Yep. Mark your
So
calendar
Mark
now.
your calendars. It should be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
And
more
and
information.
if it's a Friday the 13th, we're going to be dressing in black or something that day or something. Maybe we do something like that.
You never
Yeah,
know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Enough about that.
Okay.
Enough of a teaser about the
Yep.
reverse raffle.
Okay, we have 2 questions today.
Okay.
I know my family visitors can come directly to my home now. Can we still visit somewhere outside on the River Landing campus, like around the back pond or the pavilion?
Yeah. Absolutely. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Visiting outside is still a great choice.
Yeah. I don't
So-
think maybe we weren't real clear with our direction on that because I think we were trying to make the point of if you have them come into the building,
Right.
or that they needed to go directly to your apartment.
Right,
And
right.
so it may have sounded like that was the only way
That was
you
the
could
only
have
option,
visitors,
right?
right?
Right.
And so we didn't mean to necessarily mean that you couldn't have visitors outside.
Sure,
Absolutely,
sure.
yeah. We
That
would
still's in place.
encourage and love to have that,
Yeah.
especially with the weather being really good.
Oh, absolutely.
The next month or so, hopefully it'll be really good for outdoor
Mm-hmm.
visitations anyway. So absolutely more than welcome to
Yep.
be able to do that.
This person also asked, if we can be outside, can we use the River Landing croquet set and things like that are here? And I would say no at this point. That's touching some of the amenities, and then we
Yeah.
put them back, and if they didn't get cleaned, and another River Landing person comes behind it. So I think right now,
Yeah, I don't think we're
I
quite ready
think we
for that
better
yet.
hold off on that.
Yeah.
So when they come, let's just keep it to the visits and not using the River Landing amenities at this point,
Right.
or products, I guess.
That's right.
So, but good question. If I
Now,
can,
if they brought their own croquet set with them and then took it back with them,
I think
then
that's
that's
okay.
okay.
Or bring your own football, or whatever it is
yeah,
that you
I mean,
might
if it's something that
be
you are
playing.
doing and it's just with the family,
I think that's
and
fine. If
not
it's a
using
personal-
really any equipment, then I think that's okay, right?
I agree.
Okay,
I agree.
okay.
I think let's just not use our River Landing items
right.
for now.
Okay.
If I can find a pharmacy that gives the high-dose flu shot, can I go there? And absolutely. We talked about that, I think, on Tuesday. We just still tell you, follow the 3 Ws. When you leave here to go anywhere, just make sure you're wearing your mask, sanitizing, washing hands, and the social distance. So just be watching that. We're still waiting on some more of the high-dose flu shots. So
Yeah,
we don't have a date yet that we're getting them.
Well, we have
So-
Wake looking for high dose flu shots for us, and we have Deep River is also
Right,
looking as
right.
well. So yeah, I think we mentioned this like we said on Tuesday.
Yep.
If you can find a high dose flu shot
Right,
and you
right.
don't want to wait for us, and quite honestly, we don't know
Sure, we don't
when,
have a date yet. So
then please go ahead and do that, and just be sure that you're following
Yep.
the 3 Ws and wearing your mask when you go get it, and just make sure you do the.
And I still would recommend, we talked about this too, call the pharmacy before you go. I did have a resident come back and tell me they called there, and the place that we had actually recommended, Walgreens, I think we threw out there.
Yeah, we did.
They called and they had just given their last one for the day. So,
okay.
but they did tell them that more will keep coming in. So I still would call before I went instead of wasting a trip out.
Yeah.
So, wouldn't hurt to do that.
Now, we don't know if can you reserve, or is that just a
I
walk-up
don't know.
clinic?
They
Yeah.
didn't say if they could do that
Probably
or not.
not
I bet you
allowing you to
can't.
reserve,
Yeah.
so maybe you need to go find out if they have it and go early
And
when
go
they
early
do.
in a day is
Or
what
if you
I
find
would.
out they have it and they have enough doses, tell them
Right.
you're on your way.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. And honestly, if the other thing about this is we might be getting small amounts here and there
Sure,
too. So we
sure.
may not be able to do a clinic, but as we
Right.
get small amounts coming in, because I think we might be getting, every once in a while, we seem to get like a group of 10 shots or more. We've been just kind of giving them as we get them
right.
out. So
Absolutely.
So we
Yeah.
just, I think right now it's kind of a divide and conquer type thing,
Yeah.
where you can get them, so.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
Yeah,
That was a lot of information,
I know.
yeah.
So,
And we always
birthdays.
worry on Thursdays. When we do a Thursday show, you and I always talk about, are we going to have enough to
It's
talk
hard to
about
come
on
up with
Thursday?
information the second day,
Yeah.
but we always do.
Well, today we had a lot of information.
We always do.
And we could have spent another hour talking about the reverse raffle.
We could have.
Yeah, 'cause I'm excited
But
about
we'll
it.
save that one because
all
there's
right.
a lot more to come.
Thinking about exciting, we got birthdays today, right?
We do. So now today and tomorrow we don't have any resident birthdays.
Okay.
Saturday, though, we have Clarence Lamb.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Sunday we have Juana Blanton,
Yeah.
Eugenia Pruitt,
Yeah.
and Katie Scroggins.
Wow, awesome.
So that's awesome.
Happy birthday to all of
Yeah.
you.
And then for staff, we have Nick Hood in dining today.
Okay.
Friday, we have Dana Johnson, who's in nursing, and then none this weekend.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's kind of almost reverse.
It is.
The residents
It
have
is. That's
birthdays
right.
on the weekend,
You're
and
right.
staff have birthdays now, not on the weekend. So,
Yep.
all right. Do we have a trivia
Well, let
winner?
me check.
No winner.
See, I think that was a tricky one.
So so this is a big question now. If there's no trivia winner,
I'm
do we allow
surprised.
Brian to keep the card himself?
Oh,
I mean, he's already had
I don't
half of
know.
everybody else's winnings up to this point, right? Because he steals
Yeah.
half of it, right?
yep.
So maybe we give him half.
We give him half a card.
How about if we cut the card in half and give him half of it?
We'll give him the top half. That doesn't have the code on it. They did. Okay. So Michelle's telling us some. That's pretty close.
It is pretty close.
Maybe we give it to that person, or maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not.
All right, tell us who it is.
She's so good with trivia. Okay, so let me review the question again.
Yes, please.
When was the first presidential debate televised?
Yes.
Okay, so if you Google it and type in those exact words, you will get November 4th, 1956. Two surrogates debated the issues on network television for the Democrats. Former First Lady and party icon Eleanor Roosevelt for the Republicans. For the Republicans, the senior senator from Maine, Margaret Chase Smith. That's right. The first televised presidential debate featured two women.
That's
That's
pretty
very
cool.
interesting.
It is,
Yeah, it is. So Patricia Sadjevic was the closest. She said October of 1956, right?
Yeah, that's close
Okay.
enough.
So I think it's close enough.
Yeah.
Ms. Sadjevic, you win the gift card.
You know what, Brian?
Sorry,
you
Brian.
don't need a Target card anyway, Brian. So
Oh. But yeah, but I could see the other, when I was talking about the question, the internet said a lot of people pick 1960. Yeah, I'm not going to say who it was because Kennedy was one of them, and there was obviously somebody else. Kennedy and Nixon, so.
you can see why we're not part of the Quiz Bowl team here.
We're not smart in those ways.
Well, in fairness to all of us, 1960 was
Well, it was pre
before
us.
us.
It was pre us.
Not that we should know our history. Not that
Well,
we
you're
should know our
right.
history, but
We all did go through school, and we probably knew this at one point. But it was a long time ago.
well, I'm looking at the people in the room, and I was the closest to it. I was born a couple years later, so
Oh, it's been a while. Wow.
That's
So
pretty
Miss
impressive.
Sadjevic was just going from memory. That's pretty good to not even have looked it up.
That's impressive.
She deserves the card.
Yeah,
So
I agree with
that
that.
was really close. Okay, well,
All
very
right.
good. Let's see.
Tomorrow's exciting.
Tomorrow's exciting.
Yeah.
We have on 1390, comedian Jeannie Robertson. So she's apparently really good. I don't think I've seen her yet, but we've had a lot of rave reviews, and Brian has brought her back on again. It is a video of it. So 1390.
Oh, it's not live.
She's not a live person
She's
here.
not a live person.
But we will broadcast it at 3 o'clock tomorrow.
All right.
So that should be good.
That should be fun.
And then
We'll see how funny she really is.
I've heard she's
Lisa,
really funny.
I don't know. If she's not sitting in one of the chairs, she can't be that funny.
Well.
I mean, she really can't be. So,
I heard she's funny.
all right, well, we'll see.
So
We'll see.
maybe she has a funny chair too. So next week on 1390 at 3 p.m., We have Tuesday, High Point University Pharmacy Program presentation.
Okay.
And Wednesday, we have the River Churns.
Oh.
And my guest will be
Yes.
Rachel Dunn
Oh.
and a few of her band members.
Okay.
And they're going to be highlighting the band instruments. So I'm very excited for that.
That's cool.
Yes, that's going to be a privilege for me to be able to work with Rachel next week. And the reason why we have less shows on at 3 p.m. next week, we have the River Games going on.
River Games are going on.
So we don't want to detract from that. Let people have their times for that.
Yeah.
So just 2 programs at 3 next week. So
Sounds like a great week.
yes.
Sounds like a great
Good week.
So, okay, so down to the last part, and we got some, I think some funny things that we got from one resident that were kind of like, they're not so much that they're funny, it's just kind of, they're like little things that have happened that make you kind of go, really? People just don't quite get it sometimes, right?
Right.
And so I got this, and I thought, when would be a good time to use this? And I started thinking about it, and for anybody that was watching the presidential debate the other night, these are going to sound a little bit like that, I think. And tell me if you agree. So I'll just read a couple of them because there's a lot of them here. But my husband and I went through the McDonald's drive window, and I gave the cashier a $5 bill. Our total was $4.25. So I also handed the cashier 25 cents. She said, "You gave me too much money." I said, "Yes, I know, but this way you can just give me $1 back." She sighed and went to get the manager, who asked me to repeat my request. I did so, and he handed me back the 25 cents and said, "We're sorry, but we don't do that kind of thing." The cashier then proceeded to give me back 75 cents in change. Here's another one. Doesn't this kind of remind you of the debate a little bit? We had to have the garage door repaired. The repairman told us that one of our problems was that we did not have a large enough motor on the opener. I thought for a minute and said, well, they had the largest one made at that time, a 1/2 horsepower, 1/2 horsepower. He shook his head and said, "No, you need 1/4 horsepower." I responded and said that 1/2 was larger than 1/4, and he said, "No, it's not. 4 is larger than 2. See, don't you think that these kind of fit in line with the presidential debate a little
confusing.
bit? So,
And unreal.
we recently had a neighbor call the local city county office to request the removal of a deer crossing sign on our road. The reason? Too many deers are being hit by cars out here. I don't think this is a good place for them to be crossing anymore. Okay, I think that's enough of those. So
yes.
those are cute,
Well,
though, right? I mean,
yes.
not cute, really, in a way.
But
it's kind of
when you
sad
think
in
about
a
it,
way.
yes.
But, anyway. So I won't say anything more about the presidential debate. I just,
It's a little crazy.
it was a little crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Not our best days in the country, I don't think, but
no. My phone was blowing up from friends and family members that were like, are you watching this? I mean, this is just
yeah.
crazy. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, so enough about politics, because I really don't like to talk about
Nah.
politics. I try and stay away from that subject as much as possible. Well, we hope you are enjoying your Thursday. We hope that you have a great weekend, right, Lisa?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we got the River Games next week.
We
That's gonna
do.
be
We do.
very
It's gonna be a fun
exciting.
week.
It's going to be a really good
Yep.
week.
Yep.
So in some ways, I'm sad that I'm going to miss a lot of stuff next week. But
You can go and enjoy your time.
Yeah, I'm looking
Just
forward
get some
to it.
rest and relaxation.
yeah,
and-
it's going to be a good week to be
Yep.
off, I think. And I
Yep.
think the weather's going to cooperate too. So, well, we hope you all have a great weekend. And just want you to know how much we really love you all very much. And we appreciate you. And we're glad that you all have chosen to be a part of the River Landing family here. And it is a family. Let me just share, it's not perfect. Things are not perfect here, and they're not going to be perfect. If you expect things to be perfect here, you're living in the wrong community. It's not going to be that way, So we will do what we can to try and make you being a part of the community as best as we can for you. But just know that there are sometimes things that we just can't do, or that we've exhausted the things that we can do.
Or we make mistakes.
And we make mistakes. That's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
So remember where we came from. Remember where we progressed from the beginning of March when we shut everything down to where we are today.
Yep.
Remember, that we have really come a long way. And we've had some really nice comments from
We
residents
have.
who've
We
been
have.
thinking back and
Right,
saying,
reminiscing about our last 6.5
about how
months.
great, and it's so easy to lose sight of what you've lost as opposed to what you've gained back now. So,
Right.
So, try and remember the positive side. We understand that, not everybody's happy. We understand that with the situation with the COVID and the pandemic and Spectrum and anything else that might be out there. But, we need to just try and do our best to kind of get through this time as best we can and hope and pray for a vaccine and for better times ahead. And, it's getting better. We're seeing some things. I mean, you and I were talking about this the other day.
Yep.
The blessings that we've had here, we need to pull the blessings away from here. We've talked about this, right? The clubhouse came on board just before the pandemic hit.
Right.
We've been using the clubhouse for a host of things, not intended things at the beginning of the pandemic, but for a host of things. And if we hadn't had the clubhouse, we'd have had to scramble to find some other way to be able to do what we did.
Yes.
And so, what a blessing it was to have the clubhouse, right? And then I think the second one was that you and I were talking about was the healthcare bistro. That came on board during the pandemic.
It did.
And we were able to move our healthcare kitchen operation, over to the healthcare center so that our residents in the healthcare center could start having more timely food, more choices, better quality food. And wow, what a blessing that has been, right? Are we using that bistro area for all it's intended to be right now? No,
Not yet.
we're not.
Yep.
But, we are still getting some really practical use out of it. And it's really helping with the residents that are over in the healthcare center operation. And then the third thing we talked about was, what a blessing. This is to me the reason I know that God is alive, because these things that happen to me is a God thing, and that is, who could have timed this any better for the governor several weeks back to say, okay, the gyms can open up and such a capacity.
Right.
And here we were within days of getting our fitness equipment and being able to open up our fitness.
Right.
We had talked about the fact that we were going to have to open up the wellness center without you be able to use the equipment.
Right.
And here we are able to use the equipment.
Right.
And I've been down there a couple of times. Wow.
It's amazing.
It's really getting used. I
Oh,
saw
it is.
the women's chair volleyball going on in there, and I'll tell you what, I was glad I wasn't playing. It was pretty vicious in there. It was pretty vicious, I have to say. I mean, I was like, wow, they take their volleyball very seriously there. And then the people working out.
And walking on the track.
It's so great.
It's
So are we
amazing.
able to use everything we want to be able to use in the wellness center? No,
Not
not
yet.
yet. Can't
But-
use the game room yet.
Right, the
Can't use
classroom.
the classroom yet. So we've got some things still to be looking forward to.
Right.
But
More to come.
more to come, right? But we've got
Absolutely.
so many things that we have that now are available to be able to, for residents to be able to do. So, I count our blessings. Count your blessings. Count our blessings. We need to be counting our blessings and be thankful. I know I am. I'm thankful to be a part of this family. I'm thankful for the team that we have here, our staff. Lisa, we didn't say this, but I think I need to share this. We had a really great thing happen for staff this week.
Absolutely. I think we should share.
Okay. So as part of our new budget, those of you that have been here for a while know that our fiscal year for River Landing and Presbyterian Homes runs from October 1st to September 30th. And so at some point in the next month or so, I'll go over what the new budget means as far as increases and those kinds of things. But one of the things that got approved with the new budget year was bringing up the minimum wage for our staff. So up to this point, our minimum wage for most of our entry-level positions was $10 an hour. And we talked about this on the show, struggling a little bit to try and find people at $10 an hour when we're competing against places that are paying $15 an hour, which we're not competing against them anyway, but also competing against the Sheets and
the Walmarts,
the
the
Walmarts
Targets.
and those kinds of places.
Right.
And so, with this change, corporately, and we did this at all of our communities, not just here, we went to what the living wage is for our area. If you look up the living wage, which is basically a standard of living that is it's defined as a standard of living that you could somehow have a standard of living on. $10 an hour wasn't it. For Greensboro, it was like $11.42. I think for High Point, it was $11.36. It was pretty close between the two. So we raised our minimum wage up to $11.50 an hour for our staff. So a lot of our staff members, I venture to say, I didn't count how many, but I would say probably 100 of our staff members got an increase this week, moving up from the minimum that we had to the new minimum. And so that does two things. One, it's a huge morale booster for our staff and for our team members here. And so if you've seen a lot of extra smiles on people's faces this week, it's because of that, I think, or at least that's had something to do with it. And the other thing is, at $11.50 an hour as a minimum wage, we can compete now.
Compete a lot better.
Compete a lot better.
Yes.
And so as a result of that, you may see we have, the labor market has been really tough, not just for us, but for everybody in this area. Unemployment is too good of a thing for people right now. It's too lucrative for people and so people are staying in unemployment. So we struggle a little bit with getting some staff members here and there. Our HR team's doing a great job filling spots, but we've had some openings that we've been trying to fill. And so this will help us tremendously with that. And so you might even see that we're going to be out there advertising a little bit more than what we have been, trying to fill some additional spots.
Right. And promoting our starting wage.
But just from the initial change that we made with the minimum wage, we have 17 new staff members starting next week.
Right.
17 new staff members starting. So it's a huge thing for us. So anyway, I just think it was important to share that. And I'll have more about the budget stuff. We'll probably take one of our meetings here to go over the new budget stuff and what that means. And you and I could talk through that and have a little presentation for that. We'll probably do that towards the end of October that we'll do that. But I thought that was important to share. And it's a really good thing. It really is going to be a morale booster for our staff. So, okay, Lisa, I think that's, I have talked myself out. I think we're ready to go ahead and say goodbye and let these good people go to their afternoon walks or naps or whatever else
enjoy the
do,
weather.
Have whatever they're going to do together. So, but we do love you all very much. And again, thank you for choosing to be a part of the River Landing family. God bless.